Hey, peace, love and light to you all, family. Welcome yet again to another YouTube video with me, your host, Mathix Mahlangu. Now we're back with our movie decoding. I know some of you have been waiting for me to post some new videos when it comes to us looking at movies in greater details. Now, one of the movies that a lot of people said I should decode, this has been a long time coming. It's the movie Doctor Strange. People have also said that I should decode Avatar, Inception. There's quite a number of movies that we are going to get to in our movie decoding series. So now, without wasting any time, first of all, we're going to let you know that when it comes to movies are more than what you see on the surface level. Movies are deeper than what you just see with your two eyes. Movies are based off mythological stories. Movies are based on a particular diagram that they follow, which is called the hero's journey. 80 to 90% of movies follow this particular diagram where the hero has to undergo or go through a particular journey in order to find themselves. Usually it goes from them being ignorant to them coming into some form of type of enlightenment, represented in movies as either them finding the girl in a castle or discovering a treasure. All of these are representative of the same thing. You finding something that you didn't have in the beginning. It can be something physical, it can be a goal that you achieve, it could be enlightenment, it could be anything. So now the movie you're going to get into is Doctor Strange. But before we decode Doctor Strange, don't forget to like and to subscribe to the channel so that you can get more videos in future without me having to announce them. Especially if you press that notification button, then you're just going to get notified automatically whenever I upload new videos to the channel. And also like and share this channel with your friends so that they can also get this particular juicy information. So now let's get into the movie. So Doctor Strange is a Marvel movie. It was released in 2016. Very, very great year for me. A very great year in spirit, but a very challenging year when it comes to the physical, because this was the year that I experienced my first major physical spiritual awakening. Whereas now the physical side of things had come forth and that had come with me now seeing and experiencing things on a physical level, where I was tapped into realms and phenomena beyond just the visible spectrum of things. You know, I was psychic. It's a whole other story that I will tell in a distant future video where I'm going to be talking about my Kundalini awakening experience. So now the movie Doctor Strange, the movie starts off with the dude called Cassilis. So now it starts off with him beheading some guy, so immediately I want you to notice something, or I want to make you aware of something. Whenever you see someone being beheaded, that within itself is a symbol. It's a symbolic thing. The beheading of a person usually represents the shedding from the lower into the higher. You can say that someone is good or bad, but beheading represents someone who's tapped into a higher knowledge. So the beheading is symbolic of Cassilis looking for a knowledge of something higher, which is what we will see later when we look at the entity which he was trying to summon, which was Dormammu. So that beheading that he was doing in the beginning, or that particular ritual, was representing that. The shedding or the casting away of the physical, the normal mundane knowledge, and then looking for something higher. Always look at the bad guys in the movies, because they bring information that is not expected, but usually it's the bad guy that is telling the truth. Look at the Joker and the Batman. Always listen to the bad guys. Obviously it comes with the thing that they could just kill people, but when you listen to what they are saying and you remove yourself from the two eyes, what you are seeing, listen to what they are saying, and you're going to get some very, very deep, profound gems. So now he's cutting off that person, and then he steals that particular page with a certain ritual. Okay, so him and his particular friends, so they encounter this particular person called the Ancient One, and then they begin fighting there. And he says to her, "You hypocrite." He says to her, "You hypocrite," which you will discover later on why he says that. So now they have this whole skirmish thing that they are fighting, and dimensions, buildings are folding, and eventually they escape. So now then we meet the main character. We meet the main character called Dr. Strange. So now I want you to notice something when we meet this particular character. Watch how many times, watch how many scenes, or watch how many times they are showing his hands. They are showing his hands. Now why are they showing his hands so many times? They are showing his hands so many times to show you the importance that he has put on the creativity that he has created for himself in the physical. So he puts his success, he puts his entire being in the creativity that he is able to create where in the material plane, because the hands represent creativity. They are a symbol of creation, but he's creating we're in the physical. So later on he will change with his creation and he will create in a different place. So that's what they are showing there. They are showing the importance. This guy, he's all about this. He's all about what this can do. Here we're in the physical. All right. So now this homie, they show him immediately. You see his pride. You see his pride and the ego that he has in his particular profession. Even when he was operating on that patient free hand, they are just showing you that he's dealing with ego. He's dealing with the lower side of himself. So now he doesn't even save lives because he wants to save lives. He's doing it for a reputation, to say that, oh my word, he's worked on the most hardest cases. There again, they're showing you the ego. Oh, wow, this couldn't be healed, but Dr. Strange was able to do it. So he's doing this from a logical left brain, lower side type of thing. It's not a thing of, people really need help. No, but I want to be the one who deals with the hardest cases ever. All right, so I can be known as a pro. And then here, watch movies and write notes. Whenever you write notes, when you make movies, then you are not just watching them, but you are observing them and you are decoding. All right. So that whole scene happens, and then we see a scene where he's talking with his computer or whatever gadget, machinery, AI that is, and then he has an accident, and then he injures his hands. And then from there on, he goes into this whole crazy ass thing trying to recover his hands, because remember, all he knew was the profession that he had from the hands that were creating in the physical. So now that these hands were injured, that's why he spent so much money trying to get doctors, trying to get other people to heal his hands. Even saying to that lady, he's like, there was nothing that they could do. He's like, I could have done better. Like the ego is still, it's still very loud within him. So now he even says to this particular lady, girlfriend, fling girl, he says, life without my work, what is it? He doesn't know it. All he knows is the illusionary life that he's created as Dr. Strange. So now, as he's trying to recover his hands, he meets a particular brother who tells him about a case of some guy who had a spinal cord injury, but then who couldn't walk. And then later on, he walked past him, and then Dr. Strange is like, nah, nigga, you lying. Okay, he didn't say nigga. He's not allowed to say nigga. He's like, nah, bro, you lying. Show me the case. And then the guy's like, all right, if it proves your arrogant ass, I'll show you. I'll pull up the files. And then eventually he pulls up the files. Let me see. He pulls up the files of the guy's medical record whose spinal cord was injured, and then he shows him. So now he goes on. So he goes to find this guy, and then he finds him. And then when he gets it, this guy tells him, or he gives him information about a particular place. He's like, yo, man, I went to this place where I sat with gurus, and since I figured that I couldn't use my body, I figured that my mind was the only thing that I could elevate, so I elevated that. And then he's like, I could tell you this place, but it comes with a high cost. And he's like, how much is the cost? And he's like, I'm not talking about your money. I'm not talking about your money. He was still thinking it's physical things. And he's like, no, the place is called Kamatage, or is it Kamatage? Yeah, Kamatage. So he tells him about this place. So now he goes to this particular place. So So now he goes on the pill. He goes basically on a journey. This is where there's a calling. Study the hero's journey. There's a calling. So, you know, Mabati, you know when they say that ngapha South Africa, bathi umuntu uhlupha amadlozi, or the ancestors are bothering you. DoctorStrange in this movie bekahlupha amadlozi. But he was too focused in the physical. So for them to work in him, bamenzani bamshaya ngecar accident, ukuthi ayenzeni avuke so that he can go and find something else. So when they say the ancestors are bothering you, it's not because they don't have anything else to do. No, they want you to awaken to your purpose. That's why or that's why bakhlupa. They're like, hey papa, you came here to do certain work that is gonna not just only help us and our lineage, but gonna help the whole collective heal. So that's why they would bother you, because there's contracts made in the spirit before we incarnate in the physical. So DoctorStrange, boom, car accident. Now he's forced to go look for enlightenment, and then that's when they're like, yeah, so that's what this scene was showing, when now he was going on this whole place to find enlightenment and trying to find these people. He didn't even know he was going there to become enlightened. All right, so now he goes to this particular place, and then he meets a guy, and then this guy, he takes him to a particular place, and then when they get to the door, he's like, this doesn't look Kamatashi, you know. He's like, hey papa, look here, Joe, forget everything you think you know. And that's what you need to do as well when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to ancestors, amadlozi, umoya, twasa, voodoo, any spiritual field that you can find, umoya, prophecy, healing of any kind, spiritual medicine, astral, all of these things. When it comes to, forget everything and anything you think you know. Let go of the world knowledge, because here you're gonna find things that are beyond, you know. So let go of what you think you know, because if you come to this with an egotistical mind, you're not going to be able to unlock or tap into the mysteries. You need to come as a child. You need to come with an wanting to know. You need to come with I don't know nothing, so that everything can present itself to you. So now, boom, he meets the ancient one. His ego is still thriving because he thinks it's this dude. And then he finds out, it's a woman. You know, the ancient ones actually in the olden times were the women. They're the ones who carried the mysteries, you know, because they are the matrix, they are the matriarch, they are the mother, they are the feminine, they are the womb, they are the incubators. So knowledge comes from within them. You know, they are the ones who give you the DMT. Even when a child is born in the physical, the continuation of DMT is from the child, which starts in the womb, is DMT. Dimethyltryptamine is a chemical, very powerful substance that is released naturally within your third eye or your pineal gland. It's released also within the mother's breast milk as she feeds. It's what strengthens the bones and what gives kids and babies this ability to learn rapidly, and you know, just to learn rapidly. So women, they are the mystery keepers. They are the ones who hold they hold the most ancient of archives. The women, they carry the mysteries. So they were showing you that within the scene, just like how in the Matrix the oracle is the woman. So this thing, disrespecting women and men think that they are higher than women, it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion brought upon the people to make women seem as something lesser, when women are actually powerful. In fact, I would say even more powerful than what a man is. But then all have their roles to play. No one is greater than the other. But I'm just telling you, don't underestimate the power. Don't underestimate the power of the feminine. Don't underestimate women. That would be your first and the biggest mistake. They are the true Messiah. So let's go into the journey. So he meets the ancient one. So now she looks at him, she gives him a quick scan, she tells him about himself. So basically, I'm prophet that man, but he all right, boom. And then she says, she gives him a quick scan. she tells him about like she tells him Jorge, how many things have you heard right now? Have you heard? She says 7. So she tells him Jorge, oh yeah, no, you've been looking. How many operations have you had? 7. So basically I'm prophet, I'm jail with okay, keep on. So and then the next scene that we see here is that she, let me see here, and tells him about the power of the mind. Okay, now so she tells Doctor Strange about the power of the mind, right? And how she convinced that guy who told him about this place. She's like, no, I told that guy to convince his body to heal itself. And so now he thinks again, what are they talking about? Physical things. So he's like, what? Have you discovered some new type of cell rejuvenation biotechnology thing? He's like, nah. She mentions, no, she mentions the spirit. And once she mentions the spirit, because he is egotistical, understand that people who are egotistical, they don't believe in the power of the spirit. Whenever you mention things that have to do with the spirit, miraculous spiritual healing, where a cripple can walk, where you can lay hands upon someone and they can actually rejuvenate or heal, they think that this is, it's fantasy and it's not real. It's because they are only looking at things from a logical side. How can you heal someone without medical things? So that's where he was coming from. So he says to her, so now she gave him something to drink, just like tea, right? He's like, I come here to you for healing and you want to tell me about chakras and the power of the spirit. And so he gets upset. Let me see. Okay, so now he gets upset, right? He's like, yeah, you're gonna tell me about this and the spirit. He's like, we are matter, we are just made up of flesh. He's like, so you can see how dense he is. Like, we are just made up of matter and all of that. And then after that, so he tries to push her, and basically this is one of the most amazing scenes that I've ever seen. As he's trying to go to her, she does this thing like, oh. He comes out of his body. And then my boy goes on a trip. And this is what happens to him. So he goes into the multiverse. He just sees things. Let's see it. Let's see it together. So after that whole thing, they finally let him in. He's like, teach me. They kick him out, but eventually they let him in because they see his potential. He was destined to come there. She's seen him come before he even knew. So now she finally lets him in because that guy was asking him. He's like, so are we going to let him in? And then what is his name? Moto or something. He's like, you teacher, you've helped me overcome my demons. And then she says something profound. She says, we never lose our demons. We only learn to live above them. That's true. Your demons are your lower aspects of yourself. It's not that they're bad. They're just bad when they control you and they make you do things. But if you learn to live above them and you become their master, they have a function. What we call demons and low and fallen angels, they lower angles of light, parts that govern your lower material nature. So you have to live above them and govern them from a higher point of view. So now they start teaching him, and then he accelerates because he's just a natural genius. He accelerates in all these teachings. So now he meets a guardian of the library. He meets a guardian of the library, and then he's looking for certain books. And then there's certain books that were like kind of locked and chained away. And he's like, what about those books? Are they forbidden? He's like, nah, bro. No knowledge here is forbidden. Just certain practices. And this reminded me, when I saw this in this movie, it reminded me of the great late Ubabu Kerumuto. He speaks about this also in his book, Indaba My Children. He says that Africans knew everything that you could think that the West came up with. Africans long knew, but what they knew is that certain knowledge was not meant to be practiced, and this is what they were talking about here. So no knowledge was forbidden, just certain practices. So we knew as Africans long ago about the tire. We knew about certain weapons. We knew everything. Everything that we think that is new today, we knew it, but we knew that to put certain things into practice or into motion would have certain results that would not be good eventually for the whole of humanity. Hence we lived a very simple life. Even as advanced as we were in ancient Kemet and whatnot, we still had technology that went hand in hand with nature. It did not damage, but it was aligned with nature. Hence we were studying the stars and all of that. We were not trying to conquer nature, but to be one with it. So this is what Ubabu Klerumuto was speaking about, which they spoke about here. That's only certain things were forbidden. I mean, if you're going to create guns, that gun eventually has to be used for something. Boom, you're going to kill people with it, So now, let's see here. So now we move to another scene where they show that homie, Casillas, he's summoning that entity Domamu. He's summoning that entity Domamu. All right. Okay, they show that whole scene. Let me see, when he was going to talk, they told him. Okay, so after that whole scene, they go back to DoctorStrange, and so now they were teaching him how to open a portal. And when they were teaching him that, they told him, they're like, yo, bruh, for you to do this, you have to surrender your ego. Your ego is the part of you that you think you are. You think that you are that job that you are working. You think you are a CEO. You think you are a marketing strategist. You think you are an HR person. You think you are a clerk. You think you are a receptionist. You think you are a CEO. You think you're a mine worker. You think you are a mechanical engineer. You think you are a farmer. You think you are a spiritual healer. All of these things, you think you are that, but you are more than that. If you can be what you are, but without attaching to what you think it is or the role, then you've tapped into the secrets. This or what you do is merely a role. You are higher than the role that you are playing. But if you become your role, then you are your ego. Your ego is still telling you. Your ego is still controlling you. And you need to surrender it in order to open the portal. In order to open the third eye, which is the gateway. Which is, isango manje wena sesivuli gate manje. Surrender the ego. So now she says something. She says something as this homie now, because he started like getting it, because he was surrendering his ego. They took him to a high mountain, to I think it was Mount Everest, to some high mountain. The mountain is always representative of the highest point in your head, consciousness. He was freezing, that his ego is freezing and it's just like it's dying. The mountain, Jesus was crucified on a mountain in Golgotha, so he went to the skull, he went to his inner self. Even though it was happening outside, these were internal phenomena that happen inside of each and every one of us. You are Doctor Strange. So he went on a mountain to surrender his ego. Moses went on the Bible to receive the 10 Commandments. Abraham went on the mountain where he went to go try to sacrifice his son. It's always on the mountain. Jesus went on a mountain when he came to be tempted. The mountain always represents the highest point, because from the mountain you can see everything. You can see the whole land. The whole land is what is your body. So your body can surrender. Everything that is below the neck down can surrender to you, because now you have a bird's eye view. That's what mountains represent. So when you're climbing mountains in dreams, look at it. Did you make it to the top of the mountain? Did you struggle? Because that would tell you mountain represents a challenge. And if usually you make it to the top, it means you're going to overcome your challenges. If you turn halfway, it means that, hey, Papa, you better look out, Hey, you better summon a different type of strength so you can be able to get to the top of the mountain. So the homie starts astral learning. He starts learning out of the body, because now he's just advancing very fast. He's advancing very fast. And so now where they're like really getting into the teachings, this lady says to him, the ancient one says, the language of the mystic arts is as old as civilization. The sorcerers of antiquity called the use of this language spells, but you can call it by a modern day thing that or modern day name which makes you comfortable. You could say it's a program. It's a program because spells are programmed. When you spell, you cast a spell. That's why they say you are spelling. You are spelling with words. You are casting. In the beginning was the what? The Word. The Word made flesh. You are the Word made flesh. God spoke. He said, let there be, and there was. So the spell is the Word, and you are the Word. The W-O-R-D. The Word of God made flesh. And if you are the Word of God made flesh, it means what you also speak can come into manifestation, can come into physicality. You spell things. You cast a spell. Very deep. A program. So your brain is the programmer. It programs what you say to yourself and mostly what you think. You are programming your subconscious mind to believe it. Your subconscious mind takes in everything. It's the feminine. It takes in what you tell it as the masculine, which is the conscious. If you tell it, I'm amazing, the power of the subconscious. That's why I'm like, don't underestimate women. She's the 90%. The power of that 90% is going to give you what you give it. You build the house with your thoughts, with the conscious mind being the thoughts. And then she makes it a home. The subconscious mind is the 90% that does things that are beyond your own understanding of how it is, that what it is that was done is done. You see what I'm saying? So don't underestimate the woman because she's the 90%. She's that subconscious. She's what you program. So be careful what you say. Be careful what you think. Because what you think will be, as a man thinketh, that's the masculine. That's the action part. So is he. That's the feminine part. Let's continue on here. So it's as old as time. You could call it a program. So now they talk to DoctorStrange after that about Dormammu. You know, they talk about Dormammu. They speak about who he is and whatnot, and then that Caecilius dude, he attacks them eventually. You know, now they having that whole battle. They fighting in dimensions. He was able to cast some type of spell, and then eventually there's this scene that I like so much. This is why I'm like, listen to the guys who are so called the bad guys. This guy, he says, the Caecilius, when he was locked up there, he says, it's the end and the beginning where the many become the few, become the one. Or where the many are becoming the few, which are becoming the one. He says, all things age. And then he speaks about being absorbed back into the one. Is that not what we always talk about in spirituality? Coming together as one, being one, because we were divided. So now we are coming back into the oneness of things, being absorbed back. Because here we are in the world of chaos. We are in the world of duality and division. And we need to be absorbed back into the oneness. Or rather, to be absorbed into the chaos, the primordial chaos before this order, to be absorbed back into supreme consciousness, which is undifferentiated matter, where matter is in a state of unmanifestation, where it is just here. This is a book. This is Vaseline. I don't know how I was trying to show that. You know, you can, but in spirit, you can't. Matter is undifferentiated. That's chaos. That's Dormammu. That's that primordial energy. That's what you need to be absorbed back into. But in a state of being balanced, you need to balance it. You need to understand that Dormammu is that deep melanin. It's that chaos. It's that ultimate power. Powers as old as time. You know, they're not necessarily evil. They've always been there. But it's just a way in order for you to be able to now track them and understand them, just as DoctorStrange did when he went into that particular place. He brought something from the physical, which He brought something from this world, which is time. Okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let me see here. So he says that it's the end. That's what it is. We are in the end times where the many, where we were individualized, but now we're talking about oneness. So many are called, few are chosen. The many, it's a pyramid. The many at the bottom will become the few, which will eventually become the one. So how we come into physicality is we split via a monad. It's a monad, it splits, and then it further splits, and then it further splits, and then it further splits, right? So the many will become the few, which will become the one eventually. We get drawn back into the oneness of things, but with the individualized consciousness. Okay, now I'm taking it deeper, but then I'm throwing you seeds for another video probably that I'll make about how we came down into physicality through the process of negation, and then how we are going back through the process of evolution. It's involution, then evolution. All right. So now, boom, boom, boom. He says that, and then he also says something. He says, people think in terms of good and evil. When time is the true enemy, humanity longs for the eternal. Hey, this is the mom. This guy was dropping gems. Woo! He says, listen to this. He says, people feel, gems. These are just gems. People think in terms of good and evil. When time is the true enemy, humanity longs for the eternal. Time is what enslaves us. Time. We are imprisoned and trapped in time as humanity. Time. We are captured in time. When we ate of the fruit of good and evil, we came into time. In the Garden of Eden, they say that the snake came to it came to Adam and Eve, and it tempted them. The word tempt, the root word in temptation is tempt, which comes from what? It's time, because you are getting from there what? A tempo, a sequence of things in which certain events happen. Temptation is tempo. It's time. So time was the temptation to come into time. And only in time can you know of good and evil. Hence, he is saying here that people think only in terms of good and evil because they're still locked in time. And only in time can you think of past, present, and future, then and now. But he says that people or humanity longs for the eternal, and the eternal is consciousness outside of time. You came into time to learn lessons, and if you don't graduate for those lessons, you will keep longing for the eternal, but you will never find it. So being in time was important for a certain amount of time. Hence, Jesus said, I will come and conquer death. Death is ignorance of the spiritual self. So when we ate of the fruit, we came into physicality and we died in spirit and we gained the material body, which is represented by the Old Testament. Testa means body. Ment means mind. Old body, old mind, material mind. Jesus came in the New Testament. Jesus being higher enlightenment, higher consciousness. New Testament. Testa, new body, new mind. So with the new mind, you rejuvenate the body, the new tester, and then you jump out of time and space, and then you tap into the eternal. I and my Father are one. So you go back to the oneness of things, which is time and space continuum no more. You are one with the eternal. You are one with the infinite. But until you understand yourself to be eternal, you will think of yourself to be mortal, and you will always be tempted by time. And with time comes temptations of time and things that only dwell in physicality: lust, jealousy, envy, and greed. All of these emotions, all of these programmings exist in time. So you need to exit time by disciplining yourself by disciplining the beast, because the body is what exists in time. Umzimba wenzani uyavimba kinama. It makes you exist in the physical. It exists in what? In karma, nama. You are physical, you are material, but initially you are a spirit being. That spirit being that you are incarnates into the flesh for a temporary amount of time, over certain lifetimes, to learn certain things. But if you do not learn those lessons, you will keep being trapped in time. Time is the true enemy. People think in terms of good and evil. The good and evil, that tree, the eating. Once you ate of that tree, your hemispheres, you became dual, right and left, polarity, dual, male and female. You are androgynous. You are beyond gender. People think in good of evil, but time is the true enemy. Humanity longs for the eternal. Time is what enslaves us. We are enslaved in time. Hence, we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden once we ate of the fruit. We ate time. Time, tempo. We came temporarily locked in a prison, in a cell, in trillions of cells. A cell is a jail. What is trapped within the cells of your body? Light. So you are light trapped in a prism. In a prison of light, of 7 spectrum, a 7 color spectrum. That's too deep. Boom, boom. Okay. And then that whole thing happens. They have this fight. He has a fight with this guy. Then he gets stabbed. And then they have that whole fight out of the body. And then he talks about the body about, let me see. He talks about the body about taking energy from the dark dimension. Okay, they speak about that lady taking energy from the dark dimension. Basically, what they was talking about is that you draw both sides of energy. You are both light. The other guy didn't understand that, even though we speak about light and beauty, the lady, the ancient one, the reason why she took energy from that place is she does the shadow work. She understands both energies, but she doesn't use the dark side energy to do evil. She uses it for a specific purpose. So it's not negative in terms of evil. It's negative if you make it evil. Okay, so she's drawing energy because she understands that, you need both polarities. Boom, boom. You need both polarities to be. You need both polarities to continue on. Yin and yang. This lady understands yin and yang. Let me see. Bam. They have that whole battle in the mirror dimension and whatnot. And then eventually, the Sorcerer Supreme has a conversation with DoctorStrange about what is this arrogance and how it's not about him. All right, yeah. So they have that whole battle, and then eventually the ancient one gets injured and whatnot, and then she's in that hospital, and then now she goes out of body, and then they're having a conversation in the spirit realm or in an out of body experience, and she says, arrogance is just something that is just, man, it's lame, bro. Like, and then he says something so profound. He's like, it's not about you. It's not about you, you person watching this. It's not about you. Yes, you are important. You are on a mission to discover yourself, but it's not about you. It's about all of us, because everyone you see, hobo rich, don't look beyond the clothes. Look beyond the social programmings. Look beyond the car they're driving. Look beyond the uniform. Look beyond whether they work for the municipality. Look beyond whether they are a god. Look beyond the skin. And look beyond, look deeper, and you will realize that it's about something that you cannot even fathom. So how can you even make it about you? All you need to understand is that whatever it is that's bigger than you cares about you, because you are here. So it must mean you are here for a reason. But if we are all here, then we are all here for a one collective reason. It's not about you as an individual. It's about us. We are all shattered pieces of one mirror trying to piece ourselves back together, to become the puzzle that we once were, to become unified, to become one, undifferentiated, but individualized, consciously conscious of the self, seeing through the one eye, the eternal eye, the one lady and the one guy, the genius, the genealogy of Jesus, which is the genius, which is G, it's us, it's G, it's us. It's a luminous being. It's a fantastic mirage. It's a mirror. It's a miracle. Mihlolo, it's the eye. Umhlolo, ngiyohlola. It's a consultation. Ukuhlola. Ilihlo, liyahlola. It's seeing beyond the material. Activation of the right brain. It's the tapping into something higher. The cobra. The biting of the kundalini upon the two hemispheres of the brain when they come alive. When you become initiated into something that is beyond life and death. When you understand that you are the eternal breath. You are the inhalation and the exhalation. All at the same time. You are the quickening of God in flesh. The material acceleration of spirit once becoming self-actualized. You are the actualization of God in flesh. You are corporeal. Only temporarily you are a corpse, but you are eternal. You are strange. You are strange. You are supernatural. You are a high phenomena. You are intelligence. You are love. You are beauty. We are beauty. Because if you can affirm all of these things about yourself, you will project them back to all of us. And then we will all realize that we are that. I am what you are. You are what I am. The I am that I am. Peace, love, and light to you all, family. Thank you for watching and tuning in to this particular episode. I hope that you enjoyed. You know, you can send me suggestions of other movies that you want me to decode. Yeah, this has been a fun episode to decode. So peace, love, and light to you all, fam. Don't forget to like and to subscribe to the channel and also share it with your friends. And peace, peace, sweet dreams, great day. Whenever you be watching this, just whatever fits your schedule. Away, fam. Away, away.